Eldric Reacts.
IGN, give me some good news. Cause for the reviews, you the one I choose. It's 215 guy if you ain't heard, ask around. Yeah. I'm Eldric Valentine, you up your grind when I'm around. Yeah. I used to go to a lot of places when I was younger for like video game reviews so I know which games to buy and which ones not to buy. I remember I used to have Game Informer magazine. I used to have Game Pro magazine, PlayStation magazine. All of them was good sources for games and to see what's coming out. But then the internet kicked in, and IGN was always the go-to for the game reviews. I feel like they always gave fair reviews, but not for movies. They're not the ones to go to for movies, for real. But Resident Evil 4, you know, Resident Evil 4 is coming out, and they got a review of it. Hopefully they give them a fair review. I hope they didn't let me down with this remake. This is probably one of the most anticipated games of the year, and they doing a review of it. Hopefully it's not too, like, I played the demo. I actually played the demo yesterday, and I thought it had some new mechanics that I like. It kind of recreated that village scene where, you know, the dude's getting burned alive and you getting chased by the dude. The chainsaw is yang 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 yang.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
Then, or whatever Eminem said. And let's just watch it, man. Resident Evil 4 Remake review by IGN. I hope they don't spoil me too much in this.
In light of the high-quality remakes of Resident Evil 2 and 3 released in 2019 and 2020, it felt like a safe bet that Capcom would do an equally admirable job of rebuilding Resident Evil 4. Even so, when I hit the start button on this 2023 remake of the legendary 2005 action horror game, I wasn't prepared for how forcefully it would knock my knees out from under me and suplex me headfirst into 16 hours of sustained tension and exhilaration.
16 hours, I like that.
This fully revitalized campaign dramatically one-ups the original in almost every conceivable way.
Really?
Its Spanish countryside setting is substantially more sinister, its pacing has been tightened, and its controls have been modernized in order to allow its signature shooting mechanics to really shine. I've been waiting 18 years for a game to thrill me in the same way as Resident Evil 4. As it turns out, this whole time I've just been waiting for another Resident Evil 4.
Really? And on the demo, I put it on the original Resident Evil 4 controls. It was dope.
The original Resident Evil 4 is a landmark installment in Capcom's seminal survival horror series that, for many, would need no introduction. However, considering it came out back when we assumed that Episode 3 would be the last Star Wars film, and iPhones didn't even exist yet, I should probably give it some context. At the time, it was a big deal for Resident Evil to switch from the series' traditional fixed camera perspectives to a then radical over-the-shoulder viewpoint that brought us uncomfortably close to the gore and put the emphasis on reflexes and precision targeting. And as a result, Resident Evil 4 was an action horror epic without peer. Its influence has subsequently been felt in countless other third-person classics like Gears of War, Dead Space, and The Last of Us, but it hasn't aged all that well. In preparation for this review, I returned to the original game for the first time in years, and was shocked at how badly this remake was needed. The movement of main star Leon Kennedy felt ridiculously restricted. He struggles to get around as though he's wearing an old pair of skinny jeans that haven't fit him since his police academy days, and is immobilized anytime he gets his gun out. By modern standards, it's absurd and would absolutely put off a lot of newcomers before they could begin to understand why this game is so highly regarded. Thankfully, those days are gone. Not unlike the recent Metroid Prime Remastered, this Resident Evil 4 remake plays like a 2023 game. Luxuries like simultaneous twin-stick movement and targeting mean that you can cautiously back away while still keeping your gun trained on the advancing hordes, or sidestep out of the way of an incoming crossbow bolt without having to remove your eye from the scope of your rifle. This newfound freedom of movement makes you better equipped to really make the most of the immensely satisfying area-specific damage effects. Whether you're blowing kneecaps out to expose an enemy to a melee finisher, or simply reveling in some of the grisliest headshots in the history of video game shotguns. Leon's combat knife can also be used to parry enemy attacks or bring a
Yo,
swift finish to
the knife
staggered
work on this
foes,
game now? Wait a minute.
or to take
Wait a
enemies
minute.
out silently after he's crept up on them with his new ability to crouch.
I smoked her on the demo. I
Must
was
be
like,
those
damn, my
looser
bad.
fitting jeans. Crucially though, this overhauled control setup makes combat more fluid without compromising any of the challenge. The added benefits of the knife are balanced by the fact it takes damage with each use,
I never
so you can
understood
only
exploding
rely on it
barrels in video
sparingly.
games, like-
Otherwise it will break like a
would
tiny
you keep
master
that
sword and must be repaired at a merchant before you can resume stabbing. Meanwhile, enemies move in dangerously erratic ways and have a tendency to quickly overwhelm in numbers. So you still have to make snap decisions when it comes to prioritizing targets. Resident Evil 4 may well give you a more functional toolset to aid Leon's survival, but you still need to keep your wits and reflexes sharp, because losing your head amidst a crowd crawling with a murderous mind-controlling parasite can swiftly result in Leon literally losing his.
Oh, God.
I also love how the tactile nature of almost every element in your surroundings can be used as a tactical advantage. Whether you're baiting the terrifying Dr. Salvador into clumsily carving his chainsaw through a crowd of his own minions, or setting fire to a cow so that it rages out of control and scorches everyone in its path.
Wow,
When
you
ammunition
do
is
that?
always at a premium, it's both practical and ridiculously entertaining to let a flaming hunk of hamburger do your dirty work.
Flaming hunk of hamburger. They wild for that. They wild.
Many of you under 30 may have no clue what Resident Evil 4 is even about, but it's perhaps best described as riding a roller coaster that's careening off the rails
talking about me.
to crash through a row of spectacular haunted houses. What starts as a fairly straightforward rescue mission,
wanna see that
with
scene
Leon
with,
sent
like,
into a small Spanish village in search for the US
the big
president's
dude with the
missing
beard
daughter Ashley,
and, like, the
soon
dude
hurdles
with,
into a
like, the
heart-stopping
cabin,
series of
that
battles
boss
against
fight.
towering trolls,
That joint
desperate
kinda scary
defenses
and-
against crazed hordes in boarded-up
4K.
cabins, outrageous assaults on a heavily fortified castle, explosive minecart chases, and countless run-ins with some truly twisted freaks infected with the mutating Las
That's something I
Plagas
never seen.
parasite. All of which look consistently incredible reimagined on Capcom's RE engine. The original RE4's famously flabby final third has been tightened up considerably, and it all builds towards an improved and genuinely imposing final boss fight that took all of my skill and ammo reserves to topple. Of equal importance to its renovated environments and enemies is the anxiety-inducing audio
I'm mad
design.
right there.
Whether it's the manic chanting of its
Fighting
parasite-riddled
original.
peasant farmers,
Sé que estás ahí.
or the throaty rumble of a chainsaw motor idling in the distance, just listening to it all routinely had me inching towards the edge of my seat in anticipation for each enemy encounter. So when the carnage kicked off and the
Hopefully
tension
it's not all
spiked, I had
gas.
hardly
It's
any
really
couch
as good
left
as
to
they
cling
say
to.
it is.
No food for you!
At every step of the journey, there are enhancements both big and
That
small.
sounds about
The
right.
original's gimmicky, quick-time event-heavy knife battle against Major Krauser has been transformed into a gripping blend of parries and counter-attacks.
Too slow!
While the frustration of escorting Ashley through certain sections has been significantly reduced by ditching her health bar, so you don't need to waste valuable green herbs on healing her.
You heard?
Oh, she has unlimited health.
Elsewhere, there have been
That's good.
considerable structural changes that make the environment feel more cohesive. For instance, in the original game, the lake area primarily served as the backdrop to a boss fight. But now you can fully explore the lake and its surroundings by boat, docking at various inlets to scour cabins and caves for additional puzzles,
Some kind of shrine.
valuable treasures, and hidden horrors lying in wait. When you need to take a breather, the mysterious merchant returns to keep Leon topped up with a suite of dangerous devices like a
still see
quaint
what I'm saying?
form of Q-branch,
Welcome. What can I interest you in?
along with new recipes that allow you to craft the exact ammo types you want when out in the world, rather than having to rely on randomized drops. He also pays the bounties on the optional side quests that have been added throughout the campaign, which prove to be fun little diversions away from the story's murderous main path. These bounties are paid in gemstones which can be traded for unique items and upgrades, so although I was initially sad to see the iconic red dot sight removed from Leon's starting pistol, it only took me a few short quests to be able to buy one and fit it myself.
Oh, it's still in the game.
The merchant also gives you access to the new bolt thrower weapon during your first encounter, and its reusable bolts come in handy in the story's early hours when you're still finding your feet. Yet despite his generous prices and fabulous wares, I couldn't help but feel a little shortchanged after each transaction, since his re-recorded dialogue isn't delivered with quite the same kind of goofy charm as that of the grizzled original.
What are you buying?
Yeah.
However, in the scheme of things, it says a lot for the overall quality of this remake, when the only minor black mark I can give it is for its slightly blander black market dealer. And if this is your first time playing, it likely won't bother you in the slightest. Whether you're a fan of the original or a newcomer with a hankering for some action-heavy horror of the highest quality, Resident Evil 4 is like a parasite-riddled Spaniard. A total no-brainer. Its combat is friction-free but no less stress-inducing thanks to its ferocious cast of creatures. Its story rapidly shuttles through a series of action scenes that are diverse in structure but uniformly unwavering in intensity, and its world is rich in detail and full of fun and often snarling surprises. Its improvements over the original are too numerous to list, from simple quality of life changes to completely overhauled boss fight mechanics, and with the exception of the disappointingly diminished personality of the merchant, the team at Capcom has barely put a foot wrong. So what are you buying? Only the most relentlessly exciting Resident Evil adventure of all time that's been rebuilt, refined, and realised to the full limits of its enormous potential. A wise choice, mate.
Don't get yourself killed now.
For more IGN reviews, check out our verdicts on Bayonetta Origins and Dead Cell's Return to Castlevania. And for everything else, stick with IGN.
Listen. If this was Angry Joe, he'll give it the badass seal of approval. Look, if it's a 10 out of 10, I'm definitely going to get that win. Now, I ain't pre-ordered it yet or buy it, but it will be bought. I will be playing it day one. But that's crazy. Resident Evil 4, the first one was one of the best games I ever played in my life. So I can't expect nothing less in the remake. Listen, Capcom, thanks for not letting your boy down. But time is something you can never have back. But you spend your time with me, so I appreciate you for that. Subscribe to Eldric Reacts. We almost at 100 subscribers. Yeah. Follow Eldric Reacts on Instagram at Eldric Reacts. Follow the main Instagram at 215_guy, because that's me. That's me. New music out. New music on the way. I've been working on some new stuff. They're like, oh, Michael, Eldric, where you been lately? Yeah, I've been doing music. I've been also trying to get right physically. You know what I mean? I love doing YouTube. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. But, you know, I gotta take care of me first. You know what I mean? Before I can give to y'all, man. That's the message of the day, though. Take care of yours first, because if you don't have nothing to give, how can you give to everyone else? I'll see y'all in the next video, man. If I stop and drop, would you roll for me? You know I'm with the shits.